Two men are sitting in two separate rooms. They have no formal way of communicating with each other. And the only way they can survive this situation is by not talking. I want to introduce to you today the most talked about and the most debated, researched topic in game theory. It's called the prisoner's dilemma. Why did I tell you about the two people not talking? That's basically the situation where you would be put in this dilemma. So let's imagine this. You and your friend just got accused of a crime. Both of you are put in two separate rooms. Now, the police gives you two options. Either you confess or you stay quiet. Either you lie about your friend or you stay silent. Your friend is also given the same two options. Both of you are given the option to either lie about the other or stay quiet. Now, what would be your best option? Well, I'll set this up for you, all right? So that it's easier for you to understand. If you were to stay quiet and your friend were to stay quiet, the police would not have enough evidence on the both of you, so they would give you at maximum 1 year in jail. If one of you were to confess about the other, let's say for example, you confessed on your friend, you ratted your friend out, you would go off scot-free and your friend would spend 10 years in jail. But if you were to stay silent and your friend were to rat you out, the position is flipped. You get 10 years in jail and your friend goes off scot-free. But what if both of you were to rat each other out? What would happen then? Well, both of you would get 5 years in prison each. So I'll lay this out in a table for you. Okay? Let's take the rows as your options and the columns as your friend's option. The first option you have is to stay silent. The second option you have is to confess. The first option your friend has is to stay silent, and the second option your friend has is to confess. In the first outcome, both of you are to stay silent. The police does not have enough evidence on the both of you, so you both get 1 year in jail. Now the second option, you were to stay quiet, but your friend were to confess. Your friend goes off scot-free, but you get 10 years in jail. The third option, you were to confess, but your friend stays quiet. He trusted you. You were to go off scot-free, but your friend would get 10 years in jail. And the last option is both of you are to confess on each other. Both of you would get 5 years in jail. Look at the outcomes. The first is, of course, you stay quiet, and the second is you confess. When you're staying quiet, and your friend stays quiet, of course, you get only 1 year in jail. But if you're staying quiet and your friend confesses, you get 10 years in jail. Now look at the other side. If you were confessing and your friend stays quiet, you get 0 years in jail. But if both of you were to confess on each other, you would get 5 years in jail. Do you see how 0 and 5 is better than 1 and 10? Confessing is clearly the dominant strategy. Being selfish is what your dominant strategy is. See, no matter what your friend does, your best option is always to betray him. No matter if he betrays you or not, you win if you betray. So you see that confessing is the best option for you, and confessing is also the best option for your friend. If both of you were to confess, you would both get 5 years in jail. But if both of you were to stay silent, it would statistically be a better outcome. 1 year in jail is, of course, better than 5 years in jail. If both of you are picking the dominant strategy, both of you are losing out. So, what's going on here? Why is it so confusing? Why is the dominant strategy not giving the both of you the best outcome? That's why it's called the prisoner's dilemma. Being selfish is your dominant strategy, but it doesn't give the best outcome. Now, of course, this doesn't really apply to real life scenarios. I mean, me and my friend have been through this situation over and over again. As a herd, we did not choose the worser option, even though it's against our self-benefits. This was just a small scale of a prisoner's dilemma. It wouldn't be called the prisoner's dilemma if this was the only use case. Let's try to tone it up a bit. Let's take the prisoners as two superpower countries which have nuclear power, and the worst outcome being nuclear winter. Yeah, total nuclear warfare and the doom of humankind. Let's picture this scenario, shall we?
Third, it shall be the policy of this nation to regard any nuclear missile launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States, requiring a full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union. Full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union. The forthcoming trip of our representatives to the Soviet Union, if we could ever bring some degree of control over nuclear matters to the world, I think we would decide that not only had all our other meetings been most useful, but all the efforts that have been made in both of our countries for so many years.
So we're in 1950. Currently, there is the Soviet Union, which is modern-day Russia, and the United States. So, what's in the offer table here? What is up for stakes? Both of them have nuclear power, and both of them need to make more nuclear weapons than the other. Option 1. Do not build more nukes. Keep the arsenal small. Keep your nukes to the lesser size. Reduce the budget on nukes and spend it on, I don't know, your own citizens in your own country, maybe? Stuff like that. Both of them cooperate and both of them do not build more nukes. Both of them are safe. Nobody gets in danger. Option 2, you defect. You build more nukes, as many as you possibly can, bigger, faster, stronger, much more powerful. You can threaten them with bigger nukes, intercontinental ballistic missiles, hydrogen bombs, anything you can think of to vaporize the other nation. So here's the payoff matrix, the country edition. If both sides cooperate and stay small, if both sides do not create more and more nukes, mutual safety is assured. Both of you spend less on building nukes, and both of you are safe. Nobody is pointing thousands upon thousands of nuclear warheads at each other. This is the good outcome. But if you build more nuclear power and they don't, you have total military dominance. You can dictate the terms of the outcomes. You win the Cold War without firing a single shot, without a single civilian losing their lives. But if they build nuclear weapons and you don't, well, now the guns are pointed at you. They have the nuclear powers, they have the negotiation power, they dictate the terms of the war. That is an existential threat to your nation. And if you both build up, if you both decide to build more nukes, if you both betray each other and confess, well, it's mutually assured destruction. You each have enough nuclear power to blow the earth several times over. You're both spending yourselves into bankruptcy, and you're one miscommunication away from ending civilization. is the exact same game as before, except now instead of 5 years in prison each for defecting on each other, it's nuclear winter. And so what did the Soviet Union and the US do in the end? They both defected. They both built more and more nuclear weapons. By 1986, the United States had over 30,000 nuclear weapons, while the Soviet Union had 10,000 more of that. 40,000 nuclear weapons. What are you going to do with all this? This did not happen because either side wanted mutual destruction. This did not happen because they both wanted this outcome. Of course not. Nobody wanted each other to spend so much money as to have 30,000 and 40,000 nuclear weapons each. This happened because the logic of the game made it impossible for communication and cooperation. If you cooperate and they don't, you're dead. So you don't cooperate. Neither of you cooperate. Neither of you stop building nukes. This was a prisoner's dilemma that the whole world lost.